Community Mindfulness is a weekly 20-minute videocast of guided mindfulness practice. I'm the volunteer leader, Andrea Marion, yoga and mindfulness teacher since 2004. I live and work in Burlington, Vermont. So how does community mindfulness work? Well, you sit quietly and do very little, actually. Follow the suggestions that I give or practice what feels comfortable to you. A focus on the breathing or notice thoughts and let them go. In this non-doing, a natural receptive capacity for awareness and joy arises, however subtle or small. We start to notice that it feels good to be in the present, connected to what's happening. With practice, it's like blowing on a small flame. Mindfulness in everyday living gets stronger and stronger, and we are lucky to have this capacity that builds and supports safety, freedom, peacefulness, and well-being for ourselves and others. There's a sweetness, joy, and beauty in the moment. So let's begin. Welcome to Community Mindfulness, and for this practice we will do a mountain meditation of the mind, body, and spirit. So please settle into your seat. You could be in a chair, on a sofa, in a bed. You could be sitting or lying, but shift around until you feel comfortable and also alert. So we'll start our practice creating the base of the mountain. And you can use images if you like, or words in your mind to accompany what I say. And of course, what I say is always a suggestion. You can always do a practice of your own. So at the base of the mountain, of an actual mountain, and we all have mountains that we know and love. It's very broad and wide and strong and deeply held to the earth. And at the base of the mountain, there's often much wildlife and trees and plants, and a lot is going on. It's a very active world. And at the base of our bodies, we also feel that deep attachment to the earth. And we feel the activity that's possible for us in our bodies as we are grounded to the earth, just like a mountain is grounded. We feel the potential to rise up. And then as we go from that grounded base, we slide up the sides of the mountain. And for a while, there are trees and rocks and roots, and the sun coming through dappled leaves or pine needles. And we climb slowly, foot by foot, one foot in front of the other. And as we come up the sides of our body, our ribs are almost like ladders that hold in place and allow us to lift and expand in and out with the breath. And the ribs are in the front and the back of the body. And then, of course, there's the spine, which comes right up through the center, from the base, coming all the way up through the center. So you feel the possibility, the opportunity of liftedness and momentum. And then as we rise up our mountain, and you can use the image of your favorite mountain in your mind, you may come to the shoulders of the mountain. This is often above tree line, and there's just rocks and mosses and lichens and little puddles. And the shoulders are also broader than the peak that you look up to, but not as broad as the base, of course. But the shoulders of the mountain are wide and hold the possibility of moving further up. And so our shoulders as well broaden and widen toward the top of our bodies and lift the spine coming through the back of the shoulders and up through. And then we come to the peak. And when we come to the peak of our mountain, we're standing at the very top. And we can take a 360-degree view all around, scanning maybe over many states of territory on a clear day. And the peak of the mountain is a smaller place, but a very mighty place. And so it is with the energy that rises up from our spine, from our shoulders, and up through the crown of the head to the very tippy top of the head. And it's what's above the head and above the peak of the mountain that can be so interesting. The spaciousness, the expansiveness, the voluminousness of great air and openness. And we can lift up into that and feel that freedom, just as the mountain peak feels the freedom of the air all around it and the 360-degree view. And we also have that view. Sometimes we only look at little pieces of it, but we can truly open to be aware of all of the aspects that are around us. And so in all seasons, we can see our mountain and ourselves. In the springtime, with the rivers flowing as ice melts from the top of the mountain and runs down, and the trees and the plants begin to grow upwards, and our energy flows around us from above, softly over the face and the shoulders, and down over the ribs to the hips and legs. And it also rises up from the tailbone and the sit bones, rising up the mountain. And in the summertime, the mountains may be green and covered with the deep forests at its lower bases of the leaves and plants, and the many wildlife find their lives and their food around the mountain. And so it is with us in the summer of our lives and our seasons and our perspectives, that there are many who surround us and who we help and who help us. And as we mature and become like the deep green summer leaves of the mountain, we can offer out our gifts. And then comes the colorful fall of the mountain, when the rains again may come and the streams come down, and all the trees and plants that have grown up turn into beautiful colors. And it's an offering of beauty and delight. And so can we, as a mountain, offer ourselves as beauty and delight in any of our creativities, in any of our arts, in any of our caring for many. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Each human being in and of themselves offering out beauty like the mountain does in the fall. And then comes the winter at the mountain when the colorful leaves have fallen down and there's ice and snow and wind raging and howling, and the wildlife have taken refuge in their dens only to poke out on warm days. And so it is sometimes with us that on certain days we take our rest and we are blanketed, maybe physically with blankets, and maybe blanketed with some self-compassion or the love of others, and we are enfolded and held, and we are perhaps more silent than we are at other times, and allow the silence to speak. So just as the mountain rises from the base, up through the sides, think of the ribs of the mountain and ridges of rocks and shoulders and up to a peak, and then above the universal heights of awareness and consciousness that bring to us all that is inside and outside. And so do we from our base and our seat, sitting here tonight, grounded into our seat or the sofa or the bed, and then rising from that wide, strong base up the sides, climbing up toward the shoulders, which are wide, and holding open, and then up over the back of the head and over the face to the peak, the very peak of the head, and then above and beyond in the spacious greatness of all the air that is around us. And so we can witness a mountain in the distance, or a mountain that we may actually be climbing or have climbed. And we can view our bodies as a mountain, in some ways immutable and unchangeable as our consciousness is, as our deepest understandings are, and in some ways very changeable, like the seasons of aging or the seasons as they pass over us. And here we are, breathing as a mountain. So we'll finish our practice with a breath practice, and we will be the winds around the mountain with our breath. So as we inhale, we bring a wind swirling around the mountain, and as we exhale, we let the air and the wind travel away from the mountain. And as we inhale, a wind comes upon us and upon our vision of the mountain. And as we exhale, the wind moves beyond the mountain. So take several breaths in a breathing practice that way. Inhales coming toward you as the mountain, and exhales moving beyond you as the mountain. And I'll do just a little bit of guidance for those breaths, but much less than I have for most of this practice. So at your own pace, the inhale as a wind coming upon the mountain, and the exhale, a breath as it leaves the mountainside and moves on into other valleys and other places. Continue to inhale and exhale. And if your mind gets distracted from the breath, just gently bring it back to the breath or back to the vision of the wind on the mountain. Each inhale and each exhale is both immutable, it's always going to be there, it's unchangeable for us as we live, and it is full of change, as is the conditions around our actual stone mountain. Stone and treed and forested and rivered and streamed. And so are we in our lives, experiencing all of those conditions, all of those seasons, all of those beings around us and not around us at times. Continuing to inhale and exhale at your own pace. About 3 more breaths like that, and then I'll lead us in a breathing practice. And for the first part of our breathing practice, we'll inhale to the count of 3 and exhale to the count of 5. So it's a longer exhale, which that longer exhale is actually very calming to the vagus nerve and the nervous system. So if you're comfortable doing it, go ahead. However I count, it doesn't matter, just as long as you make your exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale. So take a full breath and we'll start. Full breath in and out. And inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And go ahead and return to your normal breath. And I'll count backward from 5. And when I reach 1, we can open our eyes and move around a little bit and leave our mountain experience of imagery and remain as a mountain in our bodies. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that is our mindfulness practice for today. Please enjoy it on CCTV Town Meeting TV and join us each week for community mindfulness. If you have any questions, you can email Andrea Marion 193@gmail.com, and that's also listed on CCTV on the website. Thank you, everyone.